How's it going, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you guys had a great Halloween. I know I did. I took the kids out and we did some trick-or-treating, and now I'm back home and so much happened today. But I was at work, and then like I said, took the kids trick-or-treating, so my entire day was taken up. But I did watch the live stream, and today I wanted to discuss my guesses for this. But this was really interesting to me. It's the 2025 Founders Keeper box for the Banquet event. It's a Banquet box, if you remember from last year, had a bunch of champions in it. This year, we're getting a buffed Thor Jane Foster in there and Nimrod. Absolutely insane already, because like I said, that buff for Thor Jane Foster, will test it out, but it looks sick. Now that means there's one more rework in here and 3 more first time 7 stars here, and they gave us the classes for each one, and we just kind of guess. And today I wanted to guess and just have fun with this video. So if you enjoy stuff like this, consider subscribing. I'm almost to 5,000 subscribers, so please, we can get there by the end of the year. That's my goal, 5,000 by the end of the year. We are like 300 away, so please consider subscribing. Okay, let's get started. So as we can see here, we have 1 skill missing, a science missing, a mutant, I assume that's mutant, it's kind of orange, but whatever, and a cosmic. So very interesting lineup, and the fact that there's a rework in here is super exciting. Unfortunately, the tech spot is already taken by Nimrod, who's just appearing as a first time 7-star, and I was hoping that would be Green Goblin. I'm still praying on that. But let's jump over to the game and see who it could be. So we're just gonna go left to right. So skill. When it comes to skill, let's go to our skill 6 stars actually, and let's see what our options really are. Could be Punisher. He's an option, but it's not going to be Punisher, almost guaranteed. Moon Knight, but you know that would require a rework. I don't know. They just had Mr. Knight, so I don't think they do that. Let's see who else. I mean, there's probably tons that I'll miss here. Kingpin, obviously fan favorite. People want Kingpin in there. I don't think it's gonna be Kingpin. I know a lot of people are hoping it is. I don't think it is. I'm gonna start with who I think it is. I think it's Valkyrie. So if you check the patch notes, Valkyrie was slightly updated to make her grit passive in order to avoid like ability reduction on it. I think that's what the note said, and she would be a perfect, I think, perfect spot. I've been waiting for her to come as a 7-star for the longest time. She wouldn't require a rework, and yeah, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick 1 for each category, 1 first time 7-star, and then 1 possible rework. That's what I'm going to do. So there's Valkyrie. That's my option. I think it's going to be her. My runner up though is going to be Aegon. You know, next year we have we're going to be having the next Everest content, so I would not be surprised if it's Aegon. And plus we had that gym that mentioned 7-star Aegon, so that would be another good choice. But I think if it's going the rework route, I actually do think it would be Moon Knight in that scenario. So yeah, that is the skill class. So moving on to science, I do feel like this is probably the area they might use a rework in, just because if you're a first time 7-star science champion at this point, you're gonna have to be probably updated, because just looking at the few science champions that aren't as you know a 7-star yet, they're not very good, because we have almost everybody already. Even we have Invisible Woman already. We have we now have Cassie Lang. So that really leaves like what? That leaves Scorpion. That'd be a very good choice. Gladiator Hulk. Captain America OG. Electro. And well, you get the point. Yellow Jacket, right? So it could be, you know, if it's not a rework, it could be Scorpion. Obviously, I don't need to really elaborate on this. Scorpion would be absolutely fantastic for the spot. It would get the whales spinning. I think he's slightly outclassed by Spider-Woman now, but he does have some really good utility with his pre-fight ability. That's kind of his, his go, like his great thing that makes him stand out, in my opinion. Now, if it's a rework, I mean, they did also start changing and fixing a bug with Electro. So I wouldn't be surprised if they took Electro. It would fit the kind of the theme here we have with Spider-Man here at the end of the year. And he's always a really cool champion. He has some really good synergies. He's fun. He'd be a good defender with that electrostatic. If you don't know, every time you hit him with a physical attack, you take energy damage back. So this would probably be my rework guess, and Scorpion would be just my first time 7-star guess. I don't really see anyone else that would fill those slots. So let's just move on. Now when it comes to Mutant, I think we are finally going to see Kitty Pryde coming in as a first time 7-star. Because if it's going to be a rework, I think a lot of Mutants are already in a good spot. We know Toad rework is already in the works. I don't think, I don't really think any of these. I mean, maybe Jubilee could be reworked, but I think for the most part, we have Wolverine X-23 getting a rework already. So really, to me, there's two options. It's Beast or Psylocke, and I think it's going to be Psylocke if it's a rework, because Psylocke already has a really good base kit that they could work with. Permanent stun lock or permanent power lock, some nice burst damage, some really good synergies. So I think she'd be a very obvious option for like a rework / first time 7-star. But it could also, maybe we also see Beast get reworked and added in there. It'd be nice to kind of see him, become relevant in any sort of way. So yeah, I think this one was pretty quick. Mutant class is pretty, I don't think Archangel, I don't see him showing up as a 7-star anytime soon. So I think it would be Kitty Pryde maybe, potentially, even though you could argue she's just as quote-unquote broken as Archangel, but there wouldn't be very many mutants left to take as a first-time 7-star that aren't either useless or broken. So that's my guess. If it's a first-time 7-star, Kitty Pryde, and if it's a rework, I think it's going to be Psylocke. So let's move on to Cosmic. Okay, finally we're down to Cosmic. So I'm going to say first time 7-star in Cosmic is interesting. If it's a first time 7-star, I truly think it's possible it's Ronan. I don't think he'd be too overpowered for anything. He's one that a lot of people have been asking for, I think. I don't know if anyone else would really excite anyone in that Banquet box as is, that hasn't already been a 7-star as much as he would, unless we're talking about the big two or the big three: Hercules, Cosmic, Ghost Rider, Hulkling. I just don't see them coming as a 7-star. I've mentioned that I think Hercules could probably show up as a 7-star and be fine. There's a lot of counters to him, but thinking about it some more, if we're just thinking about early game players trying to clear content, that might still be too broken, right? Maybe Hulkling, right? Maybe. I just don't see the big three. So that kind of leaves Ronan, in my opinion. I mean, and then when it comes to the rework, I think they could potentially pull like a double Thor rework. I don't know if they would, but this would kind of be my hope for the rework, not necessarily my guess. My guess would be, if it's a rework, it would be Groot. They have to buff this guy, dude. There's no way that he's still mid. He's not even mid. He's absolutely irrelevant. He was irrelevant when he came out. I remember when he came out, guys. I pulled him as a 3-star all the way back in like 2016, I think. And on paper at the time, he sounded good, but he was even underwhelming then. We're talking about when we had like Iron Man and Superior Iron Man, base form, old form, regular hits, basic hits, right? And this guy was just really underwhelming then too. I think this would be the time for him to shine. So yeah, I guess that's my guess if it's a rework. All right, guys, that is my guess there. And there's one more we need to guess actually. So let's take a look. So coming in December, there's going to be also going to be this Banquet Realm event, and these two first-time 7-stars will be featured here. We already know one is Absman, which is nuts, and then the other one's going to be a skill champion. So I think if Absman is here, I think Kingpin actually goes here. I think this is where we'll see Kingpin, in my opinion. I think either way, though, we're getting Valkyrie and Kingpin by the end of the year. I think that's what's going to happen here. I don't think any other champions in the skill class could really excite anyone as much as those two and be meta relevant as much as those two. So I really think it's just those two for sure. But I can't wait to find out. We're going to get some reveals coming up in Summoners Fest next week, dude. Next week, flying out. It's going to be great. I hope. It's going to be exciting, I hope. And yeah, I think that's it for this video, guys. Let me know your thoughts down below. Who you think these slots are going to be filled by. Who are your hopes, your wishes, your guesses? Let me know. And yeah, just don't forget to subscribe if you enjoyed the video. All right, guys. I appreciate you. Y'all take care.